Well, I'm Carolyn Miller.
And I'm Brad Miller. We're from Atlanta, Georgia.
And we've been married 23 years.
One of the biggest struggles we had in our life started about 15 years ago, a little more than 15 years ago. And it really started with the loss of Carol's aunt.
It was before that. It started with the loss of my great uncle, who was also my godfather. And in the succeeding 36 months, we lost over 36 loved ones. Virtually every adult above me in my family. My mom had 9 siblings. We lost my mother, my stepmother, the aunt who helped raise me, all my aunts and uncles, cousins, co-workers, minister.
Our minister, friends. It got to the point where when the phone rang, we didn't want to pick it up. It was, had moved to Atlanta. We didn't have the support system that we had just 6 months before.
We didn't know anybody.
When things really started to kick in. Yeah, I always think about it with Sis as being the beginning when Carol's aunt died, but that's right, Uncle George was first. And it just picked up steam, and it was horrible.
It was like a tsunami that just kept sweeping us under, and I look at pictures of us at that time and we don't even look like ourselves. And I remember like I was coming up for air from being under the water, and I hadn't cut my hair in months, and I didn't look like me, and I hadn't thought about myself in so long because I was just trying to survive. I was just trying to get through the pain of each day and holding my breath every time the phone rang and flying home and paying for flowers and paying for burials and cremations and arranging services and grieving with extended family, and you would no more catch your breath and then there would be another phone call, and it was crazy.
Right.
And how did that affect your relationship?
Well, it almost deadened everything. I mean, it was just like we had each other, we could hold on to each other, but that was what held us together, just that we could hold on to each other. I don't think there was any, for a chunk of it, a lot of conscious idea of how we pull out of this. It's just hold on and keep going.
And don't let go. Do not let go.
We'll do the best we can. And I think I look at a couple of things that pull us out. We got a letter from my mother that detailed a time she had gone through when I was very young that I really didn't remember much of, loss of relatives. My father was very ill, and she said, every day I woke up and said, God, get me through this day, and every day I went to bed and said, I made it through another day, thank you. And she said, and one day I realized I had made it. And that was sort of what I held on to. We've still got that letter in a safe deposit box.
We still have it.
Her death, unfortunately, was sort of the end of the 36 that we lost in that time. And I think the other thing that pulled us through is it stopped.
It stopped.
We've lost people since then, but there hasn't been that intensity. And when we were done, we realized, well, we were still holding on.
Right.
And we had helped, even if we didn't know how, to pull each other through it as we went through.
Well, and we had a rule. We instituted a rule when we were going through this that only one of us could lose it at a time. So, if I started to fall apart, then he would just suck it up and do everything he could to help me get through until I was glued together again. And then it might be minutes later he would be the one to fall apart, and then I would be helping him. But that's the rule we had. And we got each other through one day at a time. And the letter from his mom really was like a knot that we tied in a rope, and we just hung on. And our faith helped us a lot, and our belief in each other and our marriages. And we started to figure out that we needed to move to a place of gratitude. We couldn't just focus on losing those people. We had to remember what they meant to us and honor them by how we conducted our lives.
And part of that gratitude was also an understanding the gratitude we had for each other and for that relationship that had sustained us and held us together through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think as bad as it was, we came out strong.
We did.
And ready to move on.
Right.
And
I'm so glad you were there.
I think it tells us that we can weather just about anything.
That's right. I love you.